Real people, real stories, and real challenges that break the status quo. I'm your host, Živile, and welcome to Perception Paradox. Welcome to Perception Paradox, and we are back today with Daniel, who is a founder of AtlasZero. He is on a mission to bring transparency to the CSR market. And what I find inspiring about Daniel that he's been building his startup not in a regular way, because he's kept traveling and exploring the world at the same time, which is very unique. He also just recently launched his podcast where he is going into these topics, and also was quite vocal on some social media channels about the founders' challenges, especially in the health area. So I'm really excited to welcome Daniel today at Perception Paradox. And just hello, welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Sibyl. Really happy to be here.
I'm happy that you're here. How are you today?
I'm doing super well. Really, things are going well. I'm always a little bit impatient because I want to get things further faster. But no, in general, I really can't complain at all. It's going very well.
How do you cope with your impatience? I'm straight into the questions. You know, you're a bit impatient building a startup.
Yeah, no, very good question. Right now, I'm in the phase where I'm trying to be aware of it so that I know that I expect a lot of things and that I expect them to go quite fast. So I'm trying to work on that and try to see a little bit the bigger picture, because if 5 years ago you would have told me that I'm in the situation that I am right now, that I'm traveling around the world and I'm working with sustainability and I can do exactly what I want, I would have I would have been super happy to hear that. And now I'm in that situation and I get impatient because I look at the small things and I'm like, oh, this can be better and this can be, and I could do this. But yeah, that's basically how I'm trying to cope with it.
That's pretty cool. So you're sharing if we would have spoken 5 years ago. So Daniel and I, we met 2.5 years ago at the Pirate Summit, the best ever conference that existed in the world, which was happening for many years in Cologne. And Daniel was their entrepreneur in residence, also helping out that year to finalize the event. And I remember this one thing that really kind of matched between us, the passion for travel and the passion for the ocean. And we were sharing back then we had the dreams actually to be on the road, to spend more time by the ocean and to build something. And actually now it's pretty cool to have you here while building it, right?
Yeah, no, I'm super happy. I think looking back, that's definitely good development.
So how has it been for you? Because when we met you, it was just the beginning with AtlasZero, wasn't it?
So we have met each other in 2 Pirate Summits. So at the first one, I was still a little bit broader in the development phase. And the second time we met at Pirate Summit, I was then already much further in I knew where I was going with the project, and I already started it as a side hustle while working at Pirate and therefore also for Pirate Summit. And yeah, since then I basically was able to switch to it full time and spend all my time working on this. So yeah, I've definitely been able to bring it from a side hustle to a real business right now.
How long did it take you to switch?
Good question. Depends a little bit from where you start counting. So the first time, because my mind is going into different ideas and exploring that, and then I had the idea, I was posting on it on LinkedIn, and then basically from there on, where I first posted on LinkedIn, it took me 1.5 years until I quit my job and I became full-time at AtlasZero, so 1.5 years. But yeah, it was with varying degree of intensity. So in the beginning, we was just posting a little bit about it and talking to people. And at the end, I was already putting significant time in it and pushing it forward. And then it just needed the last kick. And I was like, okay, now I'm going to do it real.
Yeah, that's so cool and so inspiring. Maybe for the ones who are listening, you can tell more what is AtlasZero and how did you come up with this idea and what are you doing with it?
Yeah. So the idea of AtlasZero in general is to bring transparency to the sustainability solution market. So even before with I was helping at Pirate Summit, and I was also helping to make the Pirate Summit more sustainable because I was the guy that knows about sustainability. And I quickly realized that to do sustainability in a scientific way and in a cost-effective way is super difficult. And I was researching for different solutions. And basically all the time I spent researching, I realized there are more solutions out there. So I spent another day researching and there was even more out there. So there was no end in sight. So it basically started with like doing a Excel list that we made public, and we're putting all the sustainability solutions in there, and we're like, hey, this is just up the mark. See, those are the solutions out there, and once we know that, you can then find the right solution for you. And we now develop this much further, so we still have the list, and there are like over 700 sustainability solutions on there. And right now we're trying to figure out like what are the biggest needs of the companies. Like right now there are some new regulatory stuff with the EU. So companies, like large companies in the EU, have to do like a CSRD reporting, and we are helping those companies then to find the right solution for them. So basically, I was in a situation that I tried to find the right solution, and it was just a jungle of like different offers, and I didn't know where to go and what to do. And now I'm trying to help people that are in exactly the same situation.
That's so cool. And do you have a team?
Yes and no. So I'm the only person that works on this full time, but I have three other people that are supporting me with like either marketing, IT, or design things, because yeah, it's just super helpful to have people working on that. And I also have Manuel, who is just a huge help and helps me to like get a bird's view on things and prioritize a lot of stuff. This is super important for me to like learn how to really prioritize, because in a startup there's always more to do. And yeah, so I'm still the only full-time person, but luckily I have like very, very good help already.
That is so great. And where is that interest towards sustainability coming from? I was checking a bit your previous records, and it was some kind of also startups focused on impact sustainability you founded before. Maybe you can tell us more about your journey into this whole topic.
Yeah. So before this startup, I already had another sustainability startup. So there was definitely already the interest. Before that, I was working in some different projects, and I also did like the trainee program in investment banking and some other startup related stuff. But I quickly realized that for me, it was just super important to like work and do some work that is connected to sustainability. And if we want to dig really deep, I was also thinking about that, like, why is this so important to me and where is this coming from? And then I think initially this started with my mother. She was always putting a lot of emphasis on sustainability. And we always had like National Geographic magazines at home, and we could go through that and read that. And she was showing documentaries of like Jane Goodall that was living with gorillas in the jungle. And I don't know, she just always put a lot of emphasis on there. And I just realized recently that this is probably the reason why for me it was always obvious that I need to do something that is related with sustainability, because if I would now get a job offer to earn all the money in the world and it wouldn't be in sustainability, I would not touch it, because I just now need to. This is my field where I feel super comfortable, and I just have to do that.
It's part of your DNA, sounds like that. You grew up rooted into sustainability. And
yeah,
how about this entrepreneurial role? Were you always an entrepreneur since your childhood, or how did it come into that place? Because usually, like, you're coming from Germany, right? No?
Yeah.
So you're from Germany. In Germany, you have very specific set of rules. You have education, then you have to like do bachelor's, master's, ideally work in corporate or some private businesses. And yeah, for many people I know, entrepreneurship usually it's not the common trait. How that happened with you?
Good question. I think maybe because in Germany everything is so bureaucratic and so much in line, and I realized quite early that I didn't want to do that, then entrepreneurship was the obvious solution. I remember that in high school, I was trying to organize events or something with a friend of mine so that we could have a side hustle, get a job where we wouldn't just be paid for the hours, but where we had a different opportunity. So we were thinking about that. And then the investment banking part was also connected to financial freedom. And I was looking into that. And yeah, so I always had the interest in that. And then I think I'm quite lucky that my parents never pushed any job expectations or something on me. My dad literally, he's a plumber himself. And the only job advice that he ever had or what he expected from me, he told me that I'm not allowed to become a plumber. Yeah, for me, it was always that I had all the opportunities in the world and I felt that I could do whatever I want. And then it just came to the entrepreneurship things.
Didn't you have any fears or, I don't know, your peer pressure when they were choosing well-known companies for their internships and so on?
I was looking into the corporate world and I remember I applied for all the typical Volkswagen and Lufthansa and all of that. But then when I was looking into that, I quickly, I didn't get any job of that, but still I was like in the interviews and in the talks, I realized that this is not really what I'm looking for. And I used one university break to work in an unusual office and I had like an office job. And I just remember hating it so much. Yeah, like nothing against the job. Like it was super nice. And I just like that they gave me the opportunity and like let me work there. But for me, it was so boring and so horrible. And I felt like that I couldn't use the ideas and the energy that I had. So I was very quick to be like, yeah, no, the typical thing is not really my path.
It's not a good fit for you. And how did the digital nomading kind of vibes came into your life? Because you're traveling and you're building a startup, right?
The digital nomad thing, for me, it was when I was in high school, the whole Instagram thing started. And for me, at least, like, I got introduced to this world where everybody was using Instagram, seeing people. And I was never really interested in celebrity. You could show me 3 pop singers and I could probably not name all of them. So I was never really into that, but it really catched me to see people that were working remotely, traveling, and being able to connect the work and the fun thing. And I read the 4 Hour Work Week from Tim Ferriss, which is like the most cliche digital nomad thing ever. But I just
Extremely cliche.
yeah, but I just read it and I was like, okay, I want exactly that. I want to like build it up in this way and I want to just travel and do whatever I want. And yeah, so then I had the idea and I was super fortunate that I was able to travel before university already. So I was already seeing different areas and seeing different things. And then during university, I just knew that I was doing like my business degree in order to do that. And then it just like developed in that direction. So yeah, I feel I somehow found out that there's something like digital nomads and that I could do the same. And then for me, it was obvious that I wanted to do that.
Okay, and I mean, traveling like this, it often means also that you end up in very unconventional environments. Sometimes you have some difficulties with the connection and whatever. How do you maintain your focus and productivity, fulfilling your dreams and building a company?
Yeah. So luckily, I already have some experience with it right now. So when I was working at Pirate before, I was also like being a digital nomad and I had a job. And during that time, I was working between 20 and 30 hours per week. So it was a little bit easier. So it was easier to get into it. And there I just really learned to like be able to be in a different environment, like figure out where you can eat some stuff, figure out how you where you sleep or whatsoever. And then as soon as you get to a desk and you open up your laptop, then I'm able to like switch it around and then I just like I'm able to be productive. So this definitely wasn't the case in the first place, but I feel just with like more experience in it, and like with doing the thing more and more often, I got better in that, so that I was able to like travel around, and everything was always like a variable. Like I was going to different places, meeting different people, eating different food, and like just like everything changed. But as soon as I open up my laptop, it's the same work, it's the same schedule and everything. And this definitely helped me to have like one constant in my life. And I feel then it just took some time, and I experimented a little bit with like what works best for me. And now I'm actually quite confident that I'm like traveling and being super productive. I would even challenge people to prove to me that if I would stay in the same place, that I then would be more productive, because I'm very, very confident right now with like how I build up everything.
That's pretty cool. And what about operating remotely and working with your clients, working with other people like designers and so on? Did you find some kind of effective ways in building and managing that remote relationship and team?
Yeah. So when we're talking about relationships, obviously, remote is not able to substitute completely meeting someone in person. So if you meet someone in person and then you really get to know them, of course, this is like a stronger connection and it's a better connection. And I'm not saying that remote can just substitute that. But then at the same time, remote also has like good advantages, and I'm like able to like have a lot of meetings. I'm able to have meetings with people from all over Europe every day. Like it doesn't matter whether you are in Spain right now or in Portugal, or I just was in Romania and was still like working with Germans, and like this is like all connected. So this is like a huge advantage. And I'm really trying to like bring the German way through, and like have everything super organized, and like have clear targets and to-dos and everything. And I feel as long as you are able to like get a common understanding of like, hey, this is the task and these are the deliverables, then for me it doesn't matter where people are or at what time they work. It's just you just need to be able to communicate the most important things, but then from where you do
Yeah,
is not important in my opinion.
I found it very important when it comes to especially working a lot remote, communication and being very clear and transparent. I find it very difficult when some people miss this kind of clear and transparent communication about meetings, about the length of the meetings, about kind of, I don't know, just time is such a valuable asset. And I really do respect it. And it's sometimes everyone take it for granted. But so when you're on the road, okay, sometimes staying longer in some places, sometimes also touring and working, how do you deal with stress and all those uncertain situations like energy cut down or, I don't know, delayed flight, but you have a meeting? Are you this kind of a Zen traveler who just takes it and accept it as a fate, or you stress and I don't know, maybe some, what? How does it look for you?
Good question. So I'm definitely not yet a Zen master that is just like super calm all the time and being able to handle it easily. Yeah, I'm trying to just build the environment in a way that it's easy for me to manage. So I'm putting a lot of emphasis, having like a place where I have good internet and where I have like a room to be by myself and then do like meetings and everything. So this is like a strong focus for me. So I have that. I'm trying to not travel on work days. So I travel then on Saturday, Sunday, or I actually try to take a day off when I'm not able to travel on a weekend, so that I am not in the case that I'm like, oh, I need to finish this and then I have my flight to catch or whatever. So I'm trying to just make it easier for me, and then it still happens that the internet connection is bad, and it still happens that there's a power outage in the village, and then there's not even like phone reception. And what am I gonna like? I cannot do anything about it anymore, because like my phone is also not working, and those things happen. I'm trying to minimize them as much as possible, and I feel like with traveling more and more, I can already kind of tell a little bit better, like, hey, if I get myself in this situation, it's going to be easy. If I get myself in this situation, I will have more issues with the internet connection and everything, and then I can just choose what I do in the specific case.
Okay, and how many days usually do you spend in one country or one place?
Trying, and now I'm like contradicting myself. I'm trying to at least spend a month in one place right now. So I spent the winter in the Carpathian in Romania. So I was there
Wow.
two months, a little bit more than 2 months. And so now I'm going to the Alps right now. And therefore I did like a week stop in Budapest. Now I'm stopping 1 week in Vienna, and then I'm going to the Alps. So right now I'm not staying as long as I would usually do. And this is also switching up my usual routine a little bit. But basically, I'm trying to now have like a month or 2 month stay at the same place so I can get into my routine. I can be productive and everything. And now I'm just doing stops in between because I'm trying to fly less, because as a digital nomad, that's always like happens very fast that you have a lot of flights. So reduce that, and therefore have like stops in between. Yeah, but it's like a little bit of a combination. Yeah.
And you also spent the winter in Romania. Many people go and run away from Europe in winter, and you decided that I'm going to Romania. How did you like it?
Yeah, I'm told, actually, the same thing I was told quite often, that I'm usually trying to be a little bit different than I'm traveling different than everybody else. I don't know. For me, it's like, I wouldn't say I like the extremes, but if it's summer, I want to like be at a place where it's really nice and I have the ocean, I can surf, and it's like it's summer, it's really summer. And during winter, what I don't like in Germany is that winter is just gray, and it's not warm, like in no means. It's cold. Yeah. If you go outside, you say it's cold, but it's not snowing. There's not more to it. So my idea was, to go to the Carpathians so that I can spend winter in the mountains and have some snow. And in general, I can really recommend it. It's like a very nice place. It's very beautiful to see. And also climate change affected Romania a little bit. So it wasn't as snowy as I expected it. So careful about that. I expected it to be a little bit more snowy. And I had like an ear infection that caused partial facial paralysis, which was a little hiccup. But yeah, in general, like this should not affect Romania or the Carpathian in general. So I can really recommend this place to like spend some time there.
I really want to go to Romania, actually. I've just spent a week with a family of my friends who are originally from Romania. They've been living in Spain. So, I mean, the people are amazing. So I'm definitely going to go there. So I guess next year we're going to meet you in Lapland. I don't know if you're in search for winter and adventure. I've never been there, so I really want to go. But you already mentioned about your ear infection, actually. And that's one of the topics I wanted to cover with you today. I remember seeing your post on LinkedIn where you were raising an awareness of how important is this whole self-care routine, and that why nobody is really talking more about the founders kind of behind the scene, that it does not come only as this freedom to build a company, freedom to do what you want and to travel and to pursue your dreams. It comes with its own setbacks, and unfortunately, very often it does affect founders' health. Maybe you could share a bit your story. How did that happen to you, and where are you right now with that?
So in general, just like to what happened, I had an ear infection, which is basically not that big of a deal, but I had an ear infection that was hitting on the facial nerve. And because it then blocked the facial nerve, this basically led to the left half of my face to be numb. So that was not really an ideal situation. I was like faced with this situation, and then I had to like treat the ear infection. And this basically, like, this was not too difficult, and it was like easy enough. And I had like good health assistant or medical assistant in Romania. So this part was really well. But the thing that I realized also in that situation was that I got into a situation where I had like a medical emergency whatsoever, or I was definitely not feeling well. And while this happened, I still felt that I had to work more and do more, and I couldn't really rest. So I was like talking with Manuel during that time, and he was very clear and told me that I should just take a break and that I have to put my health as my number one priority. And those are things that I know kind of. Like if someone asks me, like, of course I'm gonna say that, but doing it in the specific moment that was like super difficult for me because I I don't know, I set myself a lot of goals and I want to develop my company and I want to push it forward, and therefore I had the feeling that I couldn't rest, that I had to push forward, that I have to develop it more. And yeah, in this situation, I really realized I had a difficulty with stopping and resting and prioritizing my own health because it was very obvious, like you could see my face, and it was very obvious that I should rest. And even though it was difficult for me, and yeah, it took me some time to realize that and take some time for myself and make sure that my health condition improved, and then that I could then continue to work.
What do you think is that we in startup world we tend to overwork ourselves? Not only in startup, actually, also in the corporate world, especially when you're having more higher position and a lot of responsibilities, or like some if you don't know how to say no, everyone will just keep putting on you the responsibilities. Why do you think that we have it?
I feel like, or at least in my position, if I go on LinkedIn, I see a lot of successful founders, and I see how they're doing, and I see other people that are doing other successful stuff, and everybody on all social media and also on LinkedIn, they are sharing the positive side and their successes and their achievements. So, and when I see that, I feel like, oh, I'm behind. I need to do that. I'm comparing myself,
Okay.
and you never see person or people that are then, oh, I'm out for this week, and oh, I really wanted to achieve that, but I didn't because now I have to do this or that. And it's just bring the perception that people, yeah, are always
Don't
doing
have bad
well and
days.
always, yeah. And I'm in the same trap. And I think I know it, and I'm still in the trap that I'm behind. I need to hustle. I need to do that. And I really, really want my, like the business idea that I have to work. And I had business ideas in the past that didn't. So I'm like, oh, this time I'm going to make double sure to like make it right. And yeah, I feel like often this then leads people to just like overwork and stress too much and focus too much on that. So it definitely did with me, but yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of LinkedIn became like Instagram for business in a way that there we have a lot of certificates, success stories, closed rounds, and so on if you're like in a startup world. But I can see actually uprising a lot of founders' health topics and mental health, the priority and focus on that. But I'm just missing, I guess, the actual kind of steps, tools, and actual stories, not only just some kind of researches, which is one of the things I'm quite interesting because I always think that yeah, things sometimes things can wait, and you should actually first be the best version of yourself, feel the best to do the best. Because if you miss that part of rest, it can lead to very big downhaul. So are you feeling better right now after your infection?
Yeah, definitely. So I think the ear infection is now 2 months ago, or a little bit more than 2 months already. And
Okay.
I'm feeling much better. Also, like you can still see it a little bit, or I don't know whether people can still see it, but I can still see it. I'm not really
Yeah.
blinking with my left eye. I have to like force to close it, and you can still see when I'm smiling a little bit, the corner of my mouth, that it's not completely back to normal. But yeah, I'm feeling for some weeks now, I'm feeling much, much better. So I'm very happy about that.
That's good to hear. It's a process. And how did your self routine change?
Yeah. So in general, I already thought that the routine I had while I got the ear infection was not too bad. So I'm trying to continue the healthy routine that I have. And now, since the incident, I'm just a little bit more aware of like, what are the problems that I have right now? And is there something that I need to take care of? So yeah, my routine actually didn't change too much, but then this is because I feel like I already have a healthy routine, and then the ear infection was just an unfortunate thing that like can happen at times.
Yeah, it's immune system and health and stuff. It's more about like also prioritizing the recovery after you have some kind of exposure to some infections. So you're
Yeah.
back and thriving and creating. So it's great that Manuel guided you in this journey to have a break, to take a break. We've been talking a lot about Manuel in this episode, and his
Mhm.
name would pop up. So maybe you can tell more about your relationship with Manuel.
So in general, I'm super lucky that I have Manuel at my side. So he's helping with AtlasZero, and he's like the mentor to me, and he's helping with advertising. He's making sure with also that we talk about health issues and all of that stuff. So yeah, he's definitely helping a lot with the business success that I so far had, and with the development. And for those people that don't know Manuel Krullmann yet, he is the founder of Pirate, which also organized the Pirate Summit for over 10 years. The Pirate Summit and all of the different stuff that Pirate does, I think you can describe it in like making business more human. So they're actually trying to really bring good things forward and support and Pirate and therefore Manuel. They're invested in a bunch of startups that are all trying to improve the world, different things. They have like an IT company in Division 5. They have no
Yeah.
code with visual makers. So really cool companies. And they're really trying to bring value to the market and help and develop that. And yeah, Manuel himself, like he's not only coaching me, but he's also coaching other people. So he's basically supporting that. And I don't know, with his 20 years of startup experience, he just has a lot of experience to source from. And yeah, and for me, it's just super crucial, important that it's not just the business side and the startup side that he can help with, which how to prioritize and how to make more revenue and how to find the right value proposition, but that he's also really talking a lot about the human side and about how this can work. And yeah, it helps me a lot, and I see a lot of other people that it helps a lot. So I just think that this is super crucial.
Yeah, that's really cool. Manuel is very knowledgeable and inspiring person, and hopefully he will come to Perception Paradox as well to share his story. And really, like it's a different game, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
talking about your entrepreneurial journey so far, what would be your most significant lessons and insights you've gained about yourself and your capabilities in the last years? That's a tough one,
Um,
right?
that's a tough question. Yeah. So there are incountable things that I learned about myself and that I learned about business and in general. I think I couldn't even name all if I now had like multiple hours to list all of the different things. But for me, it's really, I know already for some time that I really want to do something with sustainability and making the world like a little bit more sustainable. And the startup that I had before, we were developing a video platform to educate people about sustainability, and we're using the advertising revenue to then plant trees. So in theory, a super nice idea and a super cool project. But what was difficult for us, it was a very idealistic project. And I would definitely do that because I want to plant more trees and have the world become more sustainable. But the lesson learned from that project is definitely that things have to make economic sense and then support sustainability. And just because they make sense sustainably, they're not going to be a economic thriving business. And this is a little bit the combination that I had to understand. Of course, I know that, but to then really know it and see it is also something else. And this is now something that I'm trying also to implement with AtlasZero, that I'm trying to really connect the business world and the sustainability world.
Okay, so what's your ideal aspiration and dream for AtlasZero?
We are really trying to bring business and sustainability further together. So really convinced right now companies don't really like sustainability reporting because it takes more time and effort and money and whatsoever, and they don't have a direct benefit that they get from that. Like similar to like no one likes to do taxes, of course, because it takes time and it's annoying. But I really believe that if we include measures like this and companies then have all the sustainability data, that they then can make decisions based on numbers on how to become more sustainable and how to bring all of this forward. And I really feel that this is super necessary and that is really, really important. And with AtlasZero, we are helping, as I said, bring transparency and to make it easier for companies. Because if I'm able to have a company 2 months of research time, they are like going to look more positively onto the sustainability topic because it took them less time to do all of that. And they will also have more time to then actually do more projects and advance and like bring their business towards sustainability faster. And
Totally.
I'm just really convinced that this is something that the world needs right now.
I couldn't agree more. And a bit of a startup-ish question as well for the audience. Are you bootstrapping or raising?
So in general, I'm bootstrapping and I'm not like looking for real investment. Now it's the case that, and we already mentioned him, Manuel with Pirate, he's also invested. So AtlasZero is one of the Pirate companies. So you could say in some way that I have an investor, but yeah, Manuel is everything else, typical investor that inserts money to then get much more money back. He's like really interested in making the business grow sustainably in the long term. And yeah, so I would definitely say bootstrapping, even though I have like an angel investor.
That's amazing. And then you also have another podcast, right, to bring out the cases and to gain visibility so people can tune in. How can they find your podcast? What kind of channels are you using?
Yeah, so we are mainly using YouTube, where we have a video podcast, and then we also have like Spotify, Apple, and the usual podcast platforms where we share the podcast too. The idea is basically have a lot of conversations with people about sustainability reportings every week, and every week the conversations are more or less the same because everybody has the same issues in that field. So we just thought like, let's record some of those conversations and share them so that more people can learn from them.
I checked your first episode and I really liked on YouTube that you have the division of the sections and you come and you really clearly know about the problems you're going to talk and what kind of cases are there. So I think it's very valuable for all the companies that are looking for your solutions and help in this direction. So that's pretty inspiring. Daniel, any final thoughts you have to share? I don't know, about your journey, about your life?
Like so many different things. Yeah, in general, I feel like really privileged and fortunate that I actually can be a digital nomad, that I can work on my own startup, that I can work in sustainability. So I'm really, really thankful for that. And I'm already talking to some people that are going in the same direction. I want to do something similar. And there I just want to encourage people to do that because, yeah, I feel like looking from the outside, it's always like super difficult and there's so many things that need to be done. But once people start doing that and going in that direction, I think that it's doable. And I don't have a magic sauce that I use to make everything work. It's just trying to go into that direction and doing it. And then, yeah, I think I just want to encourage more people to work with sustainability, be a digital nomad if they want to, like found their own company, if that's what they really want. And yeah.
Learning as it goes, right? And trying and being not afraid to fail because it's just one more lesson to the bucket, I would say. So I do have for you a final question, and it's kind of a small tradition where I ask my guests to just ask a question to all of us, to the audience, that we can ponder through the day. something related what's also questions you are having and solving in your head, and something where someone could be maybe also relevant to think about what that would be.
It's a good question. Now I want to make it count. For me, it's something about sustainability, but I don't want to force people to think about it. And it's not like now in sustainability is a lot that people look at their own carbon footprint and are like, oh, I'm not allowed to fly, I shouldn't eat like this, and I shouldn't do that. And I don't want to push people into that direction because, of course, let's make more sustainable choices and all go towards that direction. But I feel much more than people having to do certain things about their sustainable footprint. Like there's a new expression like this sustainability handprint. And it's, hey, how can what I do, how can my job affect sustainability? And I think that's the question.
Okay.
How can my sustainable handprint, or how can I improve my sustainability handprint? The carbon footprint is so much in the media, and everybody is stressing about that, and you can't do this, you're not allowed this. And yeah, of course, we need more sustainable choices. But in general, if people just think about, hey, how can I in my work think a little bit about sustainability, how I can affect this, how can I maybe talk to someone, how can I just with my doing affect a transition towards sustainability? If we all do that, I'm not worried about climate change anymore because they were definitely gonna solve it.
Brilliant. I really loved it. And now really final question, how can people find you?
So I definitely am the most active on LinkedIn. I'm trying to post very publicly about the journey and everything, and about challenges and about all of this. So I think LinkedIn is definitely the best place to find me right now.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining. All the links will be in the podcast description. It was Daniel from AtlasZero. You can follow his journey on LinkedIn and online. And yeah, thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for having me.